Conclusion inevitable.
It was a jump to conclusions, Matt.
My conclusion was that this idea was not a practical deterrent.
My only conclusion can be that it was a Sith Lord.
In conclusion.
Hello there, folks. Welcome back to In Conclusion, the only movie podcast hosted by me, Julia Roberts. I'm Julia Roberts, and joining me today, as always, is Anna Otto. How are you, Anna?
It's me, Bruce Willis. Anna's not here today.
Well, how
I'm
are
good.
you, Bruce?
Dan, I lived my nightmare today.
Okay.
I was at pole, right? I'm taking a pole dancing class. And we had talked about, music, and the instructor stated that she also does dancing on the side, besides this job. She's a dancer at a club. And she had a private dance last night, and she asked the guy what kind of music he wanted her to dance to, and she went on a rant about Fall Out Boy.
Oh, no.
And she was like, I don't really know anything about Fall Out Boy. And I was like, you what? And then, at the end of class, I heard just a single G note play through the classroom. You know what that G note is, Dan?
I assume it's Sugar We're Going Down.
Daniel, no. I know this is like a kind of a jump, but I just, it was Welcome to the Black Parade.
Okay, yeah, no, I was like, a single note is Welcome to the Black Parade. If you were still on
Yes.
Fall Out Boy,
No,
you gotta
I'm
build
just
the
talking
bridge.
Okay, the bridge is, she was talking about how she doesn't know any Fall Out Boy, but then I said that I love them and that I like old emo-y music and pop punk and all that stuff. And she played this song, and I audibly gasped in the studio, to which some girl from the back of the room went, I haven't heard this song in years. I should become emo again. And then I went back to my car and cried to Helena. So, Dan, that's how I'm doing today.
That sounds like a normal day. A
It is a normal
regular
day for me.
average day for you.
That's a regular average day. The crying to Helena was already planned. It's just
Okay.
everything else that happened in between,
Yeah. Well, also joining us today, hopefully not having cried to Helena within the past 24 hours.
The day is young.
That's true. Got a couple hours left. Reilly Harrington. Hi, Reilly. How are you?
Look, Dan, it's not in my nature to be mysterious, but I can't tell you how I'm feeling, and I can't talk about why. I'm ready and excited to talk about our movie this week, though.
That was very mysterious, and I feel like I'm missing something.
2 weeks in a row, I directly
No!
quote the film we watched for the episode, of which I am a guest and not even a permanent host. And my reference lands, about as well as what's a non-tasteless joke I could make here.
So long.
Was your first joke going to be lands as well as the Challenger?
How did you know?
Daniel!
You know me
Too
too well.
soon, Dan.
No, I think that's because I told Dan about one of the most absurd things I've ever been told. I said the night before. One of my friends in college was talking to me at breakfast one morning. He's like, "Hey, are you feeling all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And, I went out last night. He's like, "Yeah, I saw you when you were brushing your teeth before bed in the hall bathroom, and you were just ranting in the bathroom about the Challenger disaster." I'm like, "What was I saying?" It's like, "I don't think you want to hear it. It was really negative."
Oh my God, Reilly, are you good?
No, I love the space program. I think those people are heroes, but I think I was just in a state and I was just all worked up.
Maybe that could be a fun podcast for you to listen to too.
If somebody had just tightened the O-ring or launched with a little less ice on it, everything would have been fine.
Space terrifies me. The prospect of becoming an astronaut terrifies me. That's where I stand on all this.
I could never be an astronaut. I'm too tall, and you need to have perfect vision. Two things I don't have.
We're both screwed, Dan.
I know. Those were the only things stopping me. I passed the astronaut test.
Yep.
I went through space camp.
Yep. I was in Fast 9. Thank you.
I think we might have just lost Reilly.
Oh no!
No, I'm here.
Just from mentioning Fast 9, I heard a
love
thump.
Fast and Furious.
No, that's my phone. I'm being clumsy.
Oh.
That's okay. We'll allow it this time.
Well, speaking of clumsy, that is a clumsy transition. The movie that we're talking about today is Ocean's 12, released in 2004, directed by Steven Spielberg from a screenplay by George Nolfi. I said Steven Spielberg, and if you take out some of the letters in Spielberg and replace them with the letters in Soderbergh, you'll get the correct director, Steven Soderbergh.
You said Steven Spielberg, and I was like, I think I watched the wrong movie.
He filmed it at the same time as Munich.
Oh my god!
It's much more lighthearted.
Yeah. he needed something to take his mind off project. Written by George Nolfi, who also wrote The Bourne Ultimatum and The Banker.
Jesus Christ! It's Jason Bourne. You know who plays Jason Bourne?
Jeremy Renner.
Wait, I gotta double check in case I'm wrong.
No, you're
Hang
right.
on.
It's Matt Damon.
Oh, thank God! I was so worried.
Oh god, that would have been so funny. It's like Eric Bana.
I literally, I don't know
Star
if
of
you know this,
Munich.
Reilly. I cannot tell actors apart, like, at all.
Oh no.
I love Matt Damon, but you could literally have shown me a picture of Ben Affleck, and I probably would have been like, yeah, Matt looks different here.
Is
They're
it
just
that you
two
can't?
white dudes.
Is it that you can't tell them apart, or you're just like, actors look different on and off stage?
I think I choose to not pay attention all the time to who's in movies. Like if it's not a movie that... Well, then again...
You are Disney's perfect consumer.
I know. Ugh. I have to get rid of my Disney adult title. It's absolutely horrifying. I hate it here.
So, Ocean's 12 stars. The list. George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Andy Garcia's lazy eye, Don Cheadle, Bernie Mac, Julia Roberts, Casey Affleck, Scott Conn, Vincent Cassell, Eddie Jemison, Carl Reiner, and last but certainly not least, Elliot Gould.
I have something to say again right away.
Okay.
Do we think Don Cheadle's accent is worse in this movie than it was in the last one?
Yes.
Okay.
Even better.
Yeah, it's a diverging scale because the worse it gets, the better it gets.
Don was like, I cut the check. I'm not doing the accent. It's fine.
At one point, he's giving another character advice on how to do an accent, and then dropping G's, elongating vowels, and I was just cracking up because I was just picturing some voice coach talking to Don Cheadle and him just kind of staring off past him yeah, and it's not listening at all, and to be
My
like, no,
people
I know
will
how
write
things
that
sound
down.
like. British guys are like this.
Yeah, he went to the Dick Van Dyke School of Accents. Released on December 10th, 2004, canonically making this a Christmas movie with a budget of $110 million. It made
Daniel.
300... What?
It's not a Crimbus movie. I
100
won't allow it.
110 million. That was it.
That's the budget.
Oh my god.
It made $362 million at the box office. On
But
Rotten...
what we really need though is we need to make more movies that cost a fucking $1 billion to make. And we're going to sink so much money into making toys and birthday party decorations for them that if they're not 4-quadrant successful and they don't make back their money, we're absolutely screwed. We need to do that 12 times a year.
This is literally an excerpt from the Disney boardroom.
Now,
$110 million, and they made this.
This is a Michael Eisner quote.
here's what I will say. They should have made Ocean's 12 with $1 billion budget. I want a Rusty action figure with real moving food
Yeah,
Oh.
it comes with detachable ice cream
Yeah.
cones.
God.
40 shrimp. Everything
No.
you need.
I want the 2-pack that's just Scott Conn and Casey Affleck's figures, and they're just bickering with each other, and it's almost like a Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 54% approval rating.
What?
That's an
Yeah.
F.
Critical
All the reviews were written by me.
The critical
Every single
consensus reads, while some have found the latest star-studded heist flick to be a fun, glossy star vehicle, others declare it's lazy, self-satisfied, and illogical.
It makes fun of itself the entire time.
Oh my god, the plot didn't make sense. It's a bad movie. God, what a spoiled culture we are.
Oh,
It's perfect. It's vibes.
I literally want that written on a shirt. I loved that. That was a good
Film
line.
critics in
Thank you.
2004 are disgusting pigs, and I have no respect for them.
Oh my god.
Well,
he's ranting.
respect for one. Roger Ebert, 3 out of 4 stars, and applauded its cleverness. The movie takes inventory of its characters with the same droll wit it does everything else. The movie's all about behavior, dialogue, star power, and wise-ass in-jokes. I really sort of liked it.
Sometimes I feel like he's just here for a good time, not a long time. You know what I mean? Like, he's just here for a party, Mr.
I've heard some insane takes from him about movies where I'm just like, how do you not, like, get the joke here? Like, how are you not enjoying this? But that, he's 100% right. Actually, no, he's 75% right, because this is a perfect movie, and he only gave it 3.5 stars. Because he's a fool and a dog.
I'm going to say it right off the bat. There were parts of this movie that I enjoyed far more than I did in the first movie.
Yes! I'm winning!
I think it's mostly because there was more Julia Roberts, and I like that there was a woman or two for me to pay attention to. More than just some pretty men flouncing around the screen for my feminine gaze.
Yeah, now there are 2 main pretty women in the cast.
No
Catherine
pun intended,
Zeta-Jones.
am I right?
Ayo. Catherine Zeta-Jones joins Julia Roberts. And I am struck by how attractive everyone is when they go to Europe. I don't know what happens. They're the same people. They just travel across the ocean 10 times more attractive.
Okay, I'm going to have to do a trip really quick. I'll be back later.
This is just a gorgeous looking movie. From the way it's lit, to the actual people in it, the locations that they're on, because obviously you have to up the ante in what's, flashier and more, appealing to the eye than, Las Vegas, various cities in Europe. Even the cinematography and the way that the camera moves at different points in the film is so well done. It's gorgeous. I was barely paying attention to the dialogue at some points because I liked just watching how breezy it all moved together. It wasn't just kind of point and shoot, we can fix this in post kind of assembly line filmmaking. It was really creative and flashy and fun, and people might call it self-indulgent, but I mean, I'd like some indulgence every now and again on the movies.
2 fun facts about Stephen Soderbergh. He was the cinematographer on this as well as directing, and he was the second unit director on The Hunger Games.
Really? The first one?
My.
Yeah.
Huh. How do you think that happened? What's the story there, do you think?
I think he was bored after finishing Magic Mike.
Yeah. Hot
Excuse
off the
me?
heels of Contagion.
Yeah. I don't know, is he friends with Gary Ross? That's really the only thing that makes sense to me.
Only thread I could see is Philip Seymour Hoffman. Did they ever work together? Was that the bridge?
I don't, it's
Because
just,
he was in the sequel though.
yeah, no idea. Anna, why did you gasp?
Because I had no freaking idea that Steve Soderbergh directed Magic Mike.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
directed a shit ton of movies.
Okay, hot take. Sorry, all. Magic Mike XXL is better. I'm sorry. And
That's
I know
like the
he didn't
consensus.
direct it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He was the
Oh, I know, but I'm just
cinematographer.
saying.
He cinematographized Magic
his,
Mike XXL.
I didn't want
What's
to
his
offend.
alias?
Peter
'Cause
Andrews.
He uses a name. Yeah, I think he uses like what his
And
parents.
then
his,
Marianne
dad's
Bernard
name.
is when he's an editor.
I love that. I think that's so funny that he
Yeah.
has like little alter egos. I
That's
love when
his
people
Sasha
shoot him.
Fierce. You know, like Beyonce.
Who's that? I straight up cannot say my Beyonce take on this podcast if I...
Do not
Don't
offend.
derail
please.
it too bad.
It would derail my future
Life.
basically. So just imagine what it is, and you'll probably be
I
right.
can hear it, and I'm upset.
No, I can't
Dan, press on. Just press on.
press on. So, let's get into the movie. Ocean's 12 starts off, guess what? The gang, they're all living separately. They're all living their picture-perfect lives. Danny Ocean, he's married. Brad Pitt, he's running a hotel, allegedly in Las Vegas. The twins, they're getting married. One of them is not thanking the other. Everyone's life is going swimmingly. Until Andy Garcia's lazy eye wants his money back.
Well. If it isn't the consequences of the gang's actions.
And Andy Garcia's lazy eye has also now required the use of a cane to get around, furthering my idea that he is slowly disintegrating through the plot of the 3 movies, and by the end of the 3rd, he will just be in a basket.
The incredible shrinking casino owner.
I'm going to let that joke simmer for a while. Just sit and wait until somebody agrees with me. So Andy Garcia, he's suddenly able to find every single member of the Ocean's crew all in the span of one montage.
I mean, it was very concise. I
Yeah,
appreciated its swiftness.
even faster than the last movie and getting you to like, here's the whole gang, here's
Yeah.
the
Yep.
situation. 7 minutes, very economical.
And
Love it.
basically,
Don't waste my time.
he gives them an ultimatum. 2 weeks to get all his money back, plus interest, and it's the interest that gets you.
God, it kills you.
Yeah.
Quite,
Or they're all gonna die.
quite the old tomato, am I right?
Yeah. So they stole $160 million. Interest is $38 million.
Gasp.
So they have to get Andy Garcia $198 million in 2 weeks. How are they going to do it? They can't work in the
Can't
States.
work in America.
They're
Yeah.
marked.
Too
So
hot.
they go to the only place that they can work. Or the only place where the actors wanted to spend the summer at George Clooney's villa. Europe, baby!
Europe. I didn't know what I was doing there. I just was trying to flounce off of what you were doing, Dan. I'm sorry.
It's like you were doing the Queen Flash song.
Flash.
Europe!
Europe. Yes,
They're in
that's
Amsterdam. That's where they go. Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. Trivia question. There's only one other country that starts with the. Do you know what it is?
the Czech Republic.
No.
Vatican.
Yes.
Oh. Oh, that's... Wait, what, the Czech Republic? Isn't it?
It's
or
just
did
Czech
they-
Republic.
I'm Googling it. The
No, it's the
Czech
Vatican.
Republic. Oh,
As
you're
she's
right.
Googling,
You're right.
I want to circle back to the very opening scene of the film.
Okay.
Brad Pitt returning home in the rain, starting off in a stormy, seemingly very high-end European home. And, you know, he's greeting his live-in girlfriend, who is played by Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous in this film. And he's, you know, taking off his shoes, sitting down, catching up with her on her day, asking her about the case that she's investigating, because she is a member of Interpol. And then slowly, as Brad Pitt is taking off his boot, we learn that she found a boot print at the crime scene that she's investigating. And they also found a hair sample. And the entire time, out of her line of sight, you can kind of see Brad Pitt putting together the pieces that he's about to be made. Because obviously, Rusty Ryan can't resist the danger of falling in love with an Interpol agent. And in one of my favorite freeze frames in the history of film, the very opening of this thing, right when I believe it's Columbia Pictures presents Pops, film stock freezes right as Brad is, cranks the shower on. It's like, I'll be out in a minute. Don't wait up for me. Jumps right out of the window.
I
remember
go ahead.
rolling into Ocean's 12 right after finishing Ocean's 11 and just seeing that opening scene and knowing immediately in my heart, like, this is exactly what I wanted. They're not going to fuck up the rest of this movie if that is the first step we're taking. Just a really playful, it felt like something I would see Robert Redford doing in a film like The Hot Rock or something from the 70s, except it was way more modern and way more, refined looking. It looked a lot better. It had a lot more care and craft put into it than something a bit more hands-free from the studio. And it was really, really cool seeing a big blockbuster being that playful out of the gate, rather than having it be like, ooh, it's the one fun scene. It was just, that's the attitude that we're going into the whole movie with.
Yeah. Slightly related question. What's it called when a vampire eats a movie star from Missouri and feels nervous about it?
Is this
It doesn't need to be a vampire. It's just a cannibal. Somebody.
I thought you were doing it.
No, not an interview with a vampire joke. No.
Go on. What is it?
You'd say that they have a pit in their stomach. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No.
You can address your checks to me, mail them, and I will deposit them in the nearest bank branch.
Yes,
Dan,
that's
I'm
right.
tired.
Send me your address.
I am weary, Dan.
So, the gang's plot. They're going to steal the world's oldest stock certificate issued by the Dutch East India Company for 2.5 million euros, which is nowhere near the amount of money they need. In fact, if they pull out one of these every week, it will take them 5 years to actually pay off the full debt. And that, I don't know how far you went in math, but 5 years is a little longer than 2 weeks. So they were in a bind, a jam, if you will.
A lot of impossible situations arise for the gang in this movie.
Yes.
Well, the first one was very difficult circumstances that made the heist a lot harder. This one is just like, well, this is just not possible.
Yeah.
We just simply can't do it. There's no way out of here. It's like a locked room murder mystery. But invariably, they're going to find a way out.
Amen.
What can't they do? So they go about trying to figure out how to break into an agoraphobe's house who has a world-class security system and has not left his home in the years since he has built it. And the best plan that they can come up with, because they are in Amsterdam, is to just lift the building up. Why not?
Not connected.
Clever.
Not
Love
connected
that.
to any neighboring structures.
You just lift the wood.
The scene of them brainstorming, where they're starting to realize, like, we're not gonna, have enough money. This guy doesn't leave his house. Like, it's an impossible shot. We have no access. We have no angle here. It's really fun seeing that scene in the hotel room in Amsterdam, because it is so very different from a lot of like the heist setup scenes in the previous movie. When they're in Ruben's house in Vegas in Ocean's 11, it's all very static, very controlled, like pans and stuff. Whereas in this one, a lot of the scenes between the whole gang sitting together, bouncing ideas off one another, is handheld. It's like you're watching a tennis match. You're moving around, going from Danny to Rusty to Ruben to the twins, all just kind of bickering with one another. And the really brilliant part of this scene, I think, is the sound mixing, because there are so many golden lines that are just audible enough for rewatches to, like, you can just listen to a different character and it just has a different, like, impact on the scene. I really recommend throwing on subtitles for this one, because there were so many lines that I had never heard that I saw, and almost all of them were from Casey Affleck, because he is like that very low, mumbly register where it's just audible enough, and every line he has is just killer. And seeing the whole gang playing off one another is really fun, because you don't really get a lot of the big group interactions in the first one, because they're all spread out doing their tasks. This, they're kind of huddled together in this hotel room, stepping on each other's toes, bickering about who's in line for the bathroom.
So the gang, they go about hatching and executing their plan to break into the house. They do. They get into the safe, but what do they find? They don't find the world's oldest stock certificate issued by the Dutch East India Company, meaning, canonically, this is a Christmas movie and a sequel to the Pirates of the Caribbean films.
Thank you. I thought I had heard something about... Oh, I knew there was a connection to pirates, and I'm so glad you said it. I thought I was going crazy, Dan. I really did.
In the real world, Dutch East India Trading Company, from history, founding of our country.
No, just pirates. I'm a Disney adult.
They just find a note from who, you're wondering? Well, let me tell you from who.
Who, Dan?
The Night Fox.
What in the Marvel movie is this?
Well, let me give you some exposition on who the Night Fox is. European thief, trained by retired thief Gaspard Lamarck, and he thinks that he is the world's greatest thief. What's he in it for? He's in it for the nookie. I mean, he's in it for the pride.
Lord above.
And he was the one who told Terry Benedict where and who all of Ocean's 11 were.
He
Gasp.
broke rule number 1.
Don't talk about Fight Club.
Wrong Brad Pitt movie.
So now what's happening is that the Fox, he's upset that Lamarck agreed to call Danny the best thief in the world after hearing about the Bellagio job. So the Fox...
The Bellagio jobs. I know. I never mind.
This is a Christian podcast, Anna.
It sounds sexual.
The bickering over what they referred to the first movies of NSAS is also a great little moment between the whole gang. So everyone's like, why are we suddenly Ocean's 11? This is such a proprietary thing. Everyone had their own parts to play.
We were independent contractors.
And then Casey Affleck, was one of the killer lines of the scene, just going like, I just thought we all agreed to call it the Benedict job. It's what we called it when we were doing it. And then he just kind of trails off.
So the Fox has a challenge. He wants them to steal the coronation egg in Rome, which is a Fabergé egg, of which I still don't get why they matter.
That's like just a thing wealthy people collect, isn't it? That's just what I assume.
I also collect eggs, but it's because I don't make enough eggs before they go bad, and they just sit in my fridge.
Not the same, Daniel. Not the same, Daniel.
They grow things that look like diamonds.
Ew, Dan, ew. Throw your eggs out.
So the only way
worked hard on those
to tell who the better thief is who is stealing the egg first. Danny Ocean, who I don't know how in anyone's mind they think this man alone is the world's greatest thief. Or
he's had no help.
The weird-ass French guy who seems like he can teleport places.
He's like a prince, I think, or something.
I wonder who's going to win. Oh, well. If Danny's team wins, all of their debts are paid off. If the Fox wins, no. They dead. And thus we have the stakes of the film. And those stakes are a little different than the stakes that are holding the house up that the gang lifted only a few minutes prior. The Interpol detective is the daughter of a thief herself. I wonder who. We'll find out at some point. And she runs into Brad Pitt in the market. And she's like, "Didn't I see you before?" "I don't think so." "No, I'm pretty sure I did." Quick flashback. It's Brad Pitt getting chased by the cops. And that's where she recognizes him from. Very funny moment.
Classic.
Mm-hmm. The whole construction of this film narratively is so many flashbacks, so many jumps ahead, and then kind of working your way back through breaking into the building and stuff, and seeing where each member of the gang like learned where their specific skills. I love it because it's like it recognized like, oh, the fun twist of the first one is like, oh, the whole time like, you know, the characters knew something that the audience didn't. This time it's the characters will do something that the audience doesn't expect or won't make 100% sense, and then it's very quickly kind of explained to you, or in certain cases, at certain plot points, they really drag it out.
Yes.
As a bit, and that's even a thing with some of the characters in the film. They're not 100% certain of their own role in the heist and in the grander plot of the film, because it's kind of necessary that they don't understand what's going on. It's very fun, kind of like keeping your audience in the dark at the same time as keeping the characters in the film in the dark.
Anyway, Catherine Zeta-Jones, she figures out that Rusty was involved in the heist for the stock. So she confronts him, ends up taking his phone. Big oops. And then arrests Bernie Mac, leaving a nail salon.
The second nail salon we see Bernie Mac in this film.
I mean...
Oh, and he starts the film just completely rolling off the same energy he had in his best scenes in the last film. Basically doing stand-up comedy, but just so naturally monologuing. He probably has my favorite of all of the different, like, Terry Benedict, like, pounces on the members of the gang. That one was my favorite because he just
Ooh, you're going a little tough there.
Oh, he's talking about... I think he's the guy, one of the first, like, black hockey players.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're never going to see his name on the Stanley Cup. And you want to know why? It's just that whole energy is so fucking funny.
So, now Ocean's 11 have become Ocean's 10, because Bernie Mac is no longer... He is incapacitated.
Actually, they're down to 9 at that point, because earlier Saul said...
Oh, yeah, Saul just drops out. Too old.
Yeah. Such is life.
He also has the best line, I think, in the movie, which is, "I want the last check that I write to bounce."
That's so cool.
Right?
I think the best line in the movie is, "Stop yelling at me or I'm going to shit on your shoes." By Elliot Gould, directed at Scott Conn, which I'm certain is an improvised line because you can see Scott Conn like very clearly break and just like crack up walking away out of the frame.
So the gang, they gather in their hideout and come up with a plan to steal the egg. But the plan doesn't work because they all get captured, basically. Like, as they're coming up with the plan, they're also showing them, like, executing it and just failing every time they move on from step to step. It's like arrested here, arrested there, arrested wherever. So, basically, we are left with Linus
Small gas.
as in charge of what remains of the crew.
Stepping up to a leadership position.
Yeah.
He so desperately wanted.
He wanted more. He wanted a bigger role.
Just a more central role.
Well, now he's the center of it all.
So Linus, in his desperation, trying to figure out how they can break Danny and Rusty and everybody out of jail, he tries to rally the members of the team, and Tess tries to get her to come to Amsterdam.
Hated the criminal lifestyle that Danny had and was tolerant of it, especially now that they were retiring. But now, suddenly, she's being hauled across the ocean.
Oh my god,
Europe.
I'm going to say this is my favorite part in the whole movie. Like, by far. Well, top favorite part, yeah.
Anna, what is their plan with Tess?
Well, they're going to have her impersonate Julia Roberts. And I'm rolling on my couch laughing my butt off like this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I just thought, like, it's clever. I mean, the idea of having that character live in the same world as actual Julia Roberts, and like, I just love shit like that. Like, I don't know, I just always think that that's so funny. And the whole bit with Bruce Willis too just really kills me.
And it does open up a can of worms, because just direct connections. Bruce Willis is in 12 Monkeys with Brad Pitt. Does Brad Pitt exist in this? Are all the oceans just doppelgangers of
like
their
identical
actual actors? Mm-hmm. But they only notice with Julia Roberts?
Actually, you know what? I think I could probably explain this away. For 12 Monkeys, any kind of crossover there, I would say 99, 12 Monkeys came out. Mm-hmm. Around then, you could theoretically put Guy Pearce in that role, and it really wouldn't, I don't think, change much of the performance. And that's probably the multiverse equivalent where the Ocean's movies exist. Brad Pitt, roles are taken by Del Toro, let's say Billy Crudup, Guy Pearce, but Julia Roberts still exists here. And just so happens to look exactly like that.
Well, didn't you hear the ears are off, so...
The one ear is slightly big.
This is also the scene where Don Cheadle is giving accent advice to her.
Oh, yes. God.
On how to talk with a slight southern
and they're
accent.
Like, giving her facts that are actually true about Julia Roberts. It just had me dying. And your middle name is Fiona.
Some facts that are true and some that are incorrect because they're just spitting information at this non-professional.
So they try to use Julia Roberts' fame to get them a private audience with the Fabergé egg so they can steal it. But their plan is slightly thrown awry because of the existence and appearance of Bruce Willis as Bruce Willis, who recognizes Julia Roberts and starts picking up vibes that something is wrong.
God, he's so good in this movie.
Now,
I really miss seeing him in like significant roles that require him to be acting. I really hope we get a handful more before he kind of hangs it up. I don't know.
When was the last time that he cared in a movie, honestly?
Looper, Moonrise Kingdom.
Okay, that's almost 10 years ago.
No, he had another one pretty recently that actually was like shockingly good.
Not Glass.
I've heard good things about the new Death Wish, which I can't imagine the whole movie is good, but I bet if any part of it is, it's him. Mm-hmm. But, God, 10 fucking...
Moonrise Kingdom was 2012.
He's such a good actor. It always blows my mind when I go back and I watch stuff like 12 Monkeys that I haven't seen yet, and I like rewatch Pulp Fiction, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, why did... And Die Hard. I saw Die Hard like the first time this past winter. Blew my mind. Mm-hmm. I was just so taken away. I was like, oh, right, like, this is why he's, like, a big famous movie star. He's an incredible talent. And it's just such a bummer that, like, we don't get roles like this anymore. They're, like, playful, and he's, like, really committed.
Mm-hmm. I like to think that he's a big movie star, still off of his fame from Moonlighting. That's the hardest anybody has laughed at a joke in or around moonlighting.
I am so sorry. I'm not going to lie to you. I disassociated for a second because my boss texted me and I went into panic mode. So I'm so sorry.
It's fine. We're just talking about Bruce Willis's starring turn in the sitcom Moonlighting from the 80s.
No, you're totally fine. Go ahead.
To make another niche joke, to repeat a joke I made on Twitter.
Oh, God. No.
Last week, under the trending tab on Twitter, it was about Jeopardy and how the host that they hired, they fired. It was Jeopardy trending with Mike Richards, Mike Richards. To which,
oh my God, I saw this tweet.
I made the only possible joke that you could make from that: the reboot of Mary Hartman that nobody ever asked for.
It's very niche of you, Dan. Very niche of you.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know what Mary Hartman was, it was a parody of a sitcom or a parody of a soap opera that aired from January 1976 to June 1977.
That's one season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 13 episodes.
If we're lucky.
Well, it's actually 325 episodes because it aired daily.
Oh my God.
Oh God, right? Because it was
a soap opera parody.
That's exhausting.
It was a soap opera parody in like real time.
Yeah. It's not like Soap, which was about the making of a soap opera. No, it was just like a straight up parody soap opera.
Yeah, I figured it'd be like Twin Peaks, where it's like, oh, it's inspired by soap operas, but there's like an episode a week because like you have to like, oh my God, that sounds both engaging and fucking terrible,
right?
And you know what? What a perfect joke! What a perfect airtight joke! Everyone loved.
Everybody loves
Mary Hartman reboot.
Mike Richards. I will say, it got interactions from people. I don't know how they found it, and it happened 4 days after I tweeted it.
They found me, Marty. I don't know how, but they found me.
Dan, you're on your way to becoming famous. You're going to go viral in no time.
Oh my gosh. That's the dream. So their attempt to gain an audience with the egg doesn't work because Bruce Willis.
Did you just say get an audience with the egg?
Yeah. What?
I don't know why, but that sounded so funny.
That's also the plot of the Jimmy Neutron movie.
Yes, with the chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved Jimmy Neutron.
And the gang is all arrested. So now they're all in jail. They're all kind of resigned to their fate. George Clooney very handsomely is resigned to his fate. He's so handsome in the whole movie.
He's so handsome. But
are they putting are they putting them all in the same jail cell? Because I feel like that'd be really funny.
I think they do, yeah. And a U.S. official...
We're coming up on my second favorite part.
Yeah, a U.S. official, Agent Molly Starr, comes to interrogate the team and offers them a deal. Basically, first, she sends off Catherine Zeta-Jones because of irregularly filed paperwork, getting her out of the situation. And then she offers a deal if the gang will give up the other members of the team to get out of their charges in Europe and only face charges for the Bellagio job in the U.S.
She's really grilling Matt Damon.
Yeah.
She really is.
I'm so embarrassed. Who is the actress who plays the U.S. agent?
That is Cherry Jones.
What a name.
Yeah.
She seems incredibly familiar, and I feel like I've seen her in other stuff.
She is in Succession currently.
Yeah. Is she, is that Jerry?
I thought it was Jerry too. No, she's not. She's Nan. She was also in The Handmaid's Tale.
Too sad.
Transparent. 24. She played the president.
Oh,
I definitely recognize her from Succession then, but
she was in an episode of Frasier as Janet.
I love Frasier.
Maybe I remember her from that. Odds are I probably do. I probably watch these I definitely did watch Ocean's 12 during my year where I just binge watched Frasier and Mad Men simultaneously.
If she was on 24, she probably has lulled me to sleep at some point in my life, since my parents used to watch that every single night while I went to bed when I was younger.
Oh, man.
My parents, it wasn't every single night, but it was The Amazing Race.
Ooh, a wonderful choice, truly.
So Matt Damon, he breaks under pressure really easily and gives up the whole team.
Classic.
And everybody gets
Fold
arrested.
like a lawn
Yeah.
chair.
They all get arrested by the U.S. agents, and then they're
Carted off.
carted to the airport for extradition. And Linus, he's in the car with Molly. I guess he gets special treatment because he was the one who ratted. But Molly gives him the keys to the handcuffs. And what's up? Molly is Linus's mother.
Oh, I loved it. I knew it right away. I was like, that's definitely his mom. After she got him in the car. Not during the interrogation. I'm not that smart. But, you know. I loved that reveal. It gave me life, Dan.
It also perfectly fits with his character that we've established through the two movies, how he's trying to like escape the shadow of his parents, but like
Oh my god.
when he's cornered against a wall, he's like, I've gotta call my parents. They could get me out of this.
He's he's a mama's boy.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, there's the point in the thing where she's like, I told your father about this, and his only action is, you told Dad?
I know.
Dad.
It was so cute.
The
I was
first
like,
thing-
oh.
The first thing he says to Terry Benedict is when he's like getting cornered and he's like in the back of the car with Andy Garcia. He's like, I'd really appreciate it if you just like didn't tell my father or my mother. He's just like, please don't tell my parents. I stole $200 million from you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh god, what a movie!
So cute.
So, the car that Rusty's in, it changes lanes and takes him to a private jet. But Isabel is following them. And then Rusty tells Isabel that he knows where her long-lost father is. He's not dead. He's alive. But he was prevented from seeing Isabel by her mother, who threatened to go to the police and confess everything that she knew if he ever came back. So Rusty then convinces Catherine Zeta-Jones to get on the plane with her, and he will go take her to see her long-lost dad. Now, women or men, if someone ever comes up to you and says, I can take you to your long-lost dad,
skedaddle.
just get in this vehicle with me and we will cross country borders?
They teach you that when you're 3.
Think twice about it. Then say yes, but think twice.
Daniel, absolutely not. Always say no.
I never
kids.
said, okay, don't always say no, kids.
When a
stranger's talking to you, all the children that listen to this podcast and listen to it for the advice, welcome to the advice corner.
Hello, children.
If a stranger ever comes up to you and they don't have candy, say no. If they do
Dan.
have candy, that's how you know you can trust them.
No, don't listen to Dan ever. That's rule number 1.
Listen to your parents, kids. Rule number 1, don't trust Dan. Now what are they going to do, huh?
Uh-oh, I'll tell them. Rule number 1, don't trust Dan. Rule number 2, trust your parents, unless they're Dan.
Hey!
Sorry, Dan.
My unborn
That's
children
at
take
Poppy.
offense to that.
At Poppy.
Oh, Poppy, my cat. I feel really bad. I accidentally stepped on her foot today.
Oh no!
I know.
Dan!
No, I feel so bad about it. Like, I was...
Go directly to jail, Dan.
Seriously?
Honestly, I'm putting you in hello, police?
I was coming in from our patio, and she was standing by the screen door going inside, and I was trying to keep her from running out.
Yes.
But in doing so, I stepped forward, and I accidentally stepped on her paw, and she let out like a howl and ran away. I feel so... No, laugh! I feel so bad about it, because she doesn't know that I feel so bad.
I'm just laughing because I'm picturing the face you made.
Yeah.
I'm hearing Poppy scream, and I'm hearing you being like, no! Poppy, no! I love Poppy.
Yeah, me too. I just hope she will someday love me back.
She's probably glaring at you from across the room right now.
No, she's actually, we have a little cat tent that we put on the patio. It's called a catio.
Love that.
And she, at least at the start of recording this, she was inside that as Anna was working out there.
Very cute. The catio. The girls were working out together.
Yes, Poppy was working on her, digging a hole to escape, and Anna was doing crunches.
Yep.
Speaking
the two girls.
Speaking of crunches, Danny and Tess go to the Night Fox at his Lake Como house, and they have a nice...
his Perry Como house.
Ooh, this is where I would sing a Perry Como song, but the only one that I know off the top of my head is There's No Place Like Home for the Holidays.
Sing it,
Christmas
Dan.
movie.
Take it home,
There's
Dan.
no place like home for the holidays.
Wow. That was beautiful, Dan.
Thank you. It's on now. That's what I call music if you want to get it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So at the Night Fox's house, the Night Fox, guess what? He's an arrogant little Frenchman because he's French, and this came out in 2004 when we renamed them Freedom Fries.
What?
Oh, you don't know about that?
They're French to me.
Mais oui.
Every time. Oui, mon ami, je m'appelle Lafayette.
You know that my mom made me take French through high school because she wanted me to be an Olympic translator?
That's very specific. She didn't want you to be like a French teacher. Like,
No, but the official language of the Olympics is French.
oh.
So she
that's
wanted
weird.
me to be one of the translators who translates from French to English.
Well, aim low. Be something normal, like a teacher or something.
So the Night Fox, basically, he describes what he did to steal the egg. He climbed through the roof of the museum, so he wasn't seen by the recon team. He did a
The recon team of Casey Affleck and Scott Conn in one of my favorite scenes in the whole trilogy, where they're just, it's the most pure, concentrated bickering between the two of them that you get. They're just like, it's basically just like, I'm not touching you level arguing.
Yeah,
and
basically.
It's so fucking funny.
They're two halves of a whole idiot, for real.
Absolutely. They're the best. Also, another costume change for that.
Yeah. The Night Fox, he also did what can best be described as a Christopher Walken weapon of choice dance through
Oh, God, don't even.
through the lasers
So
in the
sick.
museum.
It was too much. It really was too much.
Awesome.
Absolute most.
And then he steals the egg. And his whole thing is he told Danny that he would tell that story if Danny admits that he's the best thief in the world. And after hearing the story, Danny's like, you know what? You're right. You are the best thief in the world. And this just shows a great lack of character awareness for the Night Fox and Danny Ocean. Do you think Danny Ocean cares about being called the best thief in the world?
On a surface level, I don't think so. I think there is a part of Danny that wants that the same way. Like, he just wanted Tess back. He was going to do this stupid, risky, dangerous job with, in the 11 crew with everyone to do that. This, I don't think he really does care. I think at this point he was more concerned with saving his own skin. But
Yeah.
I think as it developed, I think when it got personal, when the Night Fox calls to wake up Danny for his morning wake up call instead of 5 a.m. day of, he calls him at 11:30 night before. It's just that kind of stuff where it's it's personal then. Then it's a bitter rivalry.
Yeah. So Danny hears the story. He says, "You're the best thief," and then he says, "Pay whatever he owes him." What? Why? But you lost. No. Danny Ocean didn't lose, Night Fox. You lost. So, this whole movie, everything that we have seen since they've gotten to Europe has been a long, long con.
What a twist.
Because
Loved it.
they knew that the Night Fox would be watching them, so they needed to come up with an elaborate ruse to go through the motions and make it seem like they were stealing the egg, when in reality, they stole the egg by faking a fight on a train, and Matt Damon just grabbed it and put it in his backpack.
Iconic.
And then the whole
Because
rest
Matt
of the
Damon's
movie,
wearing those cute glasses of his. That's how you know he's going to get stuff done.
that's how you know he's a talented little boy.
Does he actually need glasses? I'm going to Google it.
I don't think so.
Does Matt Damon wear glasses?
Why are you
in
heavy
real
breathing?
life? So
Yeah,
it's like you're here.
breathe.
I feel like a hacker.
So they set up the whole thing just as a show for the Night Fox, so that he wouldn't catch on to their ruse, basically. The bag, we then see it at their hideout, and then the Fox is crestfallen. Danny's victorious, and he ends up writing him a check for $192 million.
I love just the constant rug pulling, and it is the entire joke I discussed it last week. It's the whole joke of that Rick and Morty making fun of heists thing, where it's like, oh, you don't know who's going to double cross you. It's all just stupid subversion after stupid subversion. And I was like, watching this, I was like, that's 100% right. They were absolutely talking about Ocean's 12 when they did this. I don't care. I knew everything was going to work out. Like, oh, this American person, oh, I wonder if they have an in with this person. The whole scene with Matsui, where it's like you don't see the actual negotiation, or the audience isn't supposed to know it. I'm like, oh, I wonder what the twist is going to be here. Whole time. And they even kind of make fun of this in the movie itself during the Bruce Willis sequence, when Matt Damon and the museum director separately are explaining, like, oh, in The Sixth Sense, when the lady didn't talk to you at the diner.
Yeah.
I knew. That's when I knew. But the whole movie still worked for me. Like, this whole time, I was trying to, look for the decoy vault moment, where it's like, oh, that hologram technology. I'm like, okay, where's this going to go?
Yeah.
And the movie still works.
It does.
It's fun, and it's delicious, because it's not about, ooh, how are they going to do this? It is purely about, we're hanging out in Europe. It's like a hangout film. It's like Richard Linklater made a heist movie. It's incredible.
So then we see Rusty and Isabel at a beachside villa. And guess what? Her father wasn't just any thief. It was the man she described as the greatest thief in the world, Gaspard Lemarque. Played by the very not French Albert Finney.
Oh, that's who I was trying to figure out, because I thought it was the guy who played Dumbledore, like Michael Gambon for a second. I was like, no. But Finney, shit, that's perfect casting, too.
And they... Rusty gives the egg to Lamarck as a gift and leaves father and daughter together. And then we go to Reilly's favorite scene of the movie, where Ruben meets up with Benedict to pay him in full.
Grudges, they're awful. Nobody wins.
Throughout their conversation, the Night Fox is hidden, showing that he's still plotting. He's trying to plan something that's going to be bigger than the Bellagio heist, apparently. And then we see the gang being really attractive and drinking and having fun and playing poker together.
Truly.
As the movie ends, with a freeze frame of Catherine Zeta-Jones falling down.
We made it, y'all.
And that is Ocean's 12. Anna, you had less to say during this than you did with Ocean's 11.
Yeah. I don't know, I think it's just because I'd seen that one before, and so I had more things to talk about, but, I loved the two scenes, for me specifically, that I loved, were when Linus was being rescued by his mom, for lack of a better term, and the whole scene...
What other term? Mother?
No, I mean rescued. A better term than rescued. And I really loved the scene where Julia Roberts played herself. I did enjoy that this movie kind of made fun of itself a lot. I think that that's something that I really enjoyed compared to how serious the first one was. But, I just think this series is not going to be for me, Dan. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize to me.
I'm sorry, Reilly.
There we go.
I had a good time. I had a better time with this one. Like I said, there were parts that made me... Okay, I did also forgot to mention the one other part that kind of killed me was when Topher Grace was in this one again, and he was like completely strung out and crusty. That had me
ball of
die.
crap doesn't even work.
Oh my god, that had me... When he was going on, he's like, I quit the show. It made me laugh because, like, he did leave that 70s show earlier than everybody else. So I was like, is this where this is supposed to fit in? It just made me laugh. But, you know, I was there for the keen, sharp moments of joy. I don't know, Dan. I had fun at some points, but at the end of the day, it's still a heist, and heists don't really do it for me, my dudes. Reilly, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad all the time. I'm just like...
Oh, that's fine.
Not... You know. Anyway. It's not for me. I'm sure the movies that I love, you probably wouldn't love, and that is A-okay with me.
Almost certainly.
A-okay. That is A-okay. You're entitled to your wrong opinion. That's fine.
Reilly, what about you? You can. I know this is your favorite, so you can wax poetic.
You can roast me to filth, too. I'm serious. I feel so bad.
I think this one is... It's my favorite because it's less tight than the first one. The first one I feel like is really economic. It's really concise. They cut out a lot of like shaggy, meandering stuff that we get in this one. But that's what I really like in this film. I feel like when they kind of go off on little tangents, when you see little flashes of the world that they kind of operate in, the international world especially, like the whole meeting with Matsui, I think is a great scene because it's the whole film summed up in like about 3 minutes. It's experts speaking a language that the audience and the audience surrogate in Linus doesn't understand. It's gibberish. It makes no sense at all. And then trying to play by the rules of that game, Matt Damon completely puts his foot in his mouth and he gets kicked out of the meeting because he overreaches and he goes too big all at once. And then it turns out that the whole sequence was a joke being played on Linus to keep him in the dark about the true nature of the whole overarching scheme. So it's like the director and the writer playing a joke on the audience and playing a joke on the characters. I think is really fun. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, it's like a hangout movie. There's a lot of moments where it's just brainstorming between the guys, where it's not like they're out doing something or they're trying to pull a fast one being con men. It's desperate criminals just kind of looking at one another being like, shit, what do we do? Oh, great time for a turf war, guys. Like, this is awesome. And like another scene that just kills me is when they're discussing stealing the stock bond or whatever from the agoraphobe and in the Vanderwood house. And Matt Damon, like, the whole time, like, he's just, like, getting visibly rankled whenever someone says, like, oh, you know, we just knocked the freak's power out. And he's just getting more and more, like, fidgety about it. And he just goes, look, do we want to be the kind of organization that calls people, you know, freaks? And then everyone's just like, oh, we're an organization now? And he's like, oh, well, would you call Emily Dickinson a freak? And then the shot stays on him. And then you just hear off camera, and I don't know if it was ADR or if it was on-set improv, but you hear Elliot Gould in characters go, are you hosting a telethon we don't know about? And then the same shot, you also hear almost simultaneously Casey Affleck going, who's Emily Dickinson? Oh, wait, no, Scott Conn says it. He's like, who's Emily Dickinson? And then immediately after that, they finally crack the whole, like, oh, we'll just lift the building thing. And then it's Ruben just pounding on the door, trying to get into the bathroom that Bernie Mac is in. Just going, Frank, come on, let me in. Scott Conn's trying to talk him down. He's like, how do you think it feels when you're on the toilet and someone's just banging on the door? And then Gould's response, like I said earlier, I'm pretty certain this was improvised too. He goes, I gotta go to the toilet. Otherwise, I'm going to shit on your feet. Scott Conn completely cracks.
I have to ask, Reilly, how much of this movie do you think was like added on improvised things, since it is a lot goofier than the last one?
I want to say a lot of it. I feel like a lot of it has a solid... Because this was right in the wake of major studio comedies, I think, shifting towards that more... we'll just set up a pretty basic shot and let Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell and company kind of improvise for 50 takes, and we'll just take the funny one that actually kind of progresses the plot along. Which, in its moment was very funny, but now that that's how they make every studio comedy and even every studio, like, blockbuster, it's kind of boring, kind of sick of it.
Yeah.
But there were moments, like in the train station, where Danny is, like, talking to the twins, where he's like, let me ask you something. And then he turns and he points over to the other twin. He goes, let me ask you something. It's those little moments where I want to feel like I want to believe that was more of, like, a inspired moment by Clooney, rather than just really, really good characterization in the screenplay. And I think that's a testament to the kind of movie that this is, where it feels very natural. Like, you have a good grip on the characters and their dynamics with each other, even though you're getting the rug, like, pulled over your eyes a bunch by the movie itself. Like, you still kind of understand the rules of the game, as it were.
Some trivia about the film.
All right.
In the scene where all the characters are guessing George Clooney's age, asking if he looks 50, he was 42 at the time. While they were producing the movie in Rome, Brad Pitt and George Clooney weren't allowed back into their hotel room because the doorman thought they were vagrants after the actors were caught in a rainstorm while jogging.
Oh. Sounds to me like they're not vagrants. They're just sexy models.
Before filming...
Dan, don't brush over
I'm
that!
brushing over it! I love to brush over sexy models.
No fun ever.
Before filming began, Brad Pitt put out a memo to all crew members that they could only address George Clooney as his character's name, as Danny Ocean
God.
or Mr. Ocean.
That would drive me absolutely bonkers.
George...
Oh, right. I remember. This was like the prank war set, basically. I love this.
George Clooney found out about it, and he got back by putting bumper stickers on the back of Brad Pitt's car that said "small penis" on board.
That's what it was.
Oh my God.
Brad's fake laughter in the meeting with Matsui, where Matsui makes some kind of, like, an abstract comment, and then it's just Danny and Rusty laughing. Brad Pitt. I highly advise everyone to look that up if you don't remember it, because it is just one of the best cases of him doing that kind of fake laugh. He does the same one in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when he's on the acid-dipped cigarette scene right at the end. It's such perfect. Like, I wish he does more out-and-out comedy, because he could really kill it.
So the fake wake-up call was based on a prank that George Clooney and Brad Pitt played on Julia Roberts when they were shooting Ocean's 11. They'd tell her that the call time was at 5 a.m. when it wasn't until noon.
5 a.m. damn. Oh, that's just mean. That's mean.
Stephen Soderbergh thinks that Ocean's 12 is his favorite of the trilogy. Peter Fonda filmed a cameo as Bobby Caldwell, Linus's dad, but it got cut.
Oh.
Breaks my heart that I know that information and I'll never get to see it.
Matt Damon initially didn't want to return because he thought that his part was going to be too small. So they rewrote the movie to give him a bigger role. But then after he finished filming The Bourne Supremacy, he came back and he was like, "Could I have a smaller role? I'm really tired." And Steven Soderbergh said, "No."
Beggars can't be choosers, Mister.
What really blew my mind is I thought this one, in the trivia last week, you mentioned that Soderbergh wanted to shoot Ocean's 11 in black and white, and the studio said, "No, we're going to cut the budget if you do that." it really blows my mind he didn't try that move again for this
It
one.
would fit very well for this.
Because I remember the first time I saw it, I said that to the people I was watching with. I'm like, this movie would look so much better in black and white. And they were like, no, it wouldn't have any color. That's stupid. But just the way the camera moved,
They just functionally described what black and white is.
Exactly. But it would play out. I feel like there's like the way the camera moves, it would play out, and especially because it was filmed on location in Europe, it would play a lot more like new wave films.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has that sensibility and that sort of very same playfulness with like form and structure that like Godard and his contemporaries did.
Mm-hmm. And then the last piece of trivia is that according to Andy Garcia, Benedict has a cane in this movie because he got so angry that he kicked something very hard. That's as specific as he got.
Oh my god. Oh no. I mean, I too have kicked something very hard and thought I was going to need a cane before, so that was my toe on Valentine's Day.
So the first time that I watched this movie, I was kind of disappointed by it. I was like, oh, this isn't... Because I had watched Ocean's 11, I think, like 3 times in a week prior to watching this. So I was just so like, oh, I can't wait for another one of this, exactly the same again. And then I got this, and this was different. I was like, I'm just not all that into it. And I was like, it's fine. But then rewatching it this afternoon, I was like, oh, man, another banger. Real fun. I like the first one more just because I like the tightness of the heist in that one more than the like loose, and it makes sense that's loose because it's all a diversion in this movie.
I honestly haven't I was watching it earlier today, like 7 hours ago. In the back half of this movie, I really lose the thread on like exactly what's going on. Like I know that it's like, oh yeah, we found your dad. I don't quite know the extent that they were working with the Night Fox or pulling one over on the Night Fox, and I don't care. The whole time I'm just like, oh, the reveal. Yeah, it was, and I think that mindset is why I love Tenet so much, where it was just like, the details of the plot, like I kind of follow. There's a lot of key words that I'm getting, musical cues that indicate what's going on, but it's just kind of just about the vibe. You're along for a ride, and I like that.
My biggest, I guess, thing with a movie is I 100% believe every movie's internal logic. If they say that something makes sense in a movie, I believe it. I don't care. I don't care whether or not it makes sense in the real world. In the movie universe, it makes sense.
I feel like I'm with you on that, Dan. I was like racking my brain because you know how heated I get about time travel.
I do, yes.
But I feel like I agree with you, like in terms of most movies, like in this movie where it's technically like a logical real world movie. Anything they say, like the fact that Julia Roberts exists, but also so does this woman who looks identical to her. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I'll just let it happen, let it slide. Sure, it could happen.
Yeah.
It's not like they were trying to say anything too crazy has ever happened.
Yeah.
So, Reilly, would this movie be better, worse, or the same with Elliot Gould?
I want to change.
Okay.
I feel like I can change my answer.
Yes.
Guys, I feel like 3 weeks in a row of that, people will be like, all right, we get it. You like this guy a lot. Let me see. Like, you know what? I'll throw another actor I really like in, Billy Crudup.
Okay, better, worse, or the same. Billy Crudup as Rusty.
Oh, or how about the Night Fox?
Sure.
Ooh,
Competitive?
he's been thinking about
I don't think
this.
so. As much as I like him, I think that...
Wait. So my question was better, worse, or the same, and your answer is, I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, it would probably be worse.
Yeah,
it would probably be worse. What we have, I think, is a pretty airtight film. Not airtight, shaggy, but the casting, I think, is impeccable.
You
The
are
Night
very
Fox-
flippy-floppy tonight.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. Vincent Cassel as the Night Fox. I forget his real name. It's something European. He was a really great kind of smarmy, snarky European type character without becoming the cliche of these stupid, insolent Americans. He had a genuine respect for Danny Ocean, but he wanted to show him up because he was so obsessed with himself. And that vanity, he's operating alone. He doesn't have this whole crew. I thought it was so fantastic. And it was, I don't think I've seen many foreign language films with Cassell in them, but I have seen Eastern Promises, which is another one of his semi-contemporary, like big Hollywood releases, and God, he's terrific in that, and he's really off the charts in this. Like the whole dance sequence, I remember, I should have been rolling my eyes at it. Like it's a bit ridiculous. It's silly even for the universe's logic, and it was just so fun that I couldn't get annoyed by it.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, and I mean, like Finney, like it's a lot of smaller parts filling in, like the Peter Fonda as Bobby Caldwell performance, like those tiny little parts that they had filling in. And I feel like without the character actors that they, I mean, not character actors, he's a star in his own right, but like without the actors in the roles for those tiny pieces, like Matsui or the Eddie Izzard role, like it just wouldn't be as, I don't know, intercontinental. It wouldn't have that same kind of like flair and variety versus like your standard, like, you know, Hollywood, we're going to get Tom Cruise, Philip Seymour Hoffman in here. Like a Mission Impossible cast.
Yeah. Anna, what about you? Better or worse or the same? JTT, again as Linus.
No, I can't do it. Matt Damon's too cute in this role. I know this isn't a movie in which one would say cute, but I'm going to inappropriately use that word like I always do. I just think Matt Damon is really good at this role. Like, I think I just think he's good at playing these little, like, try to be cool, geeky guys. Like, I just see that a lot for him, and I see it fitting and working.
Have you seen The Informant?
No.
He's got glasses.
He's got glasses.
I'm going to have
He's
to
got,
leave
I
right
think,
now,
a
you
little
guys.
Mustache. It's directed by Soderbergh, and it's all about white-collar crime.
I got to go right now. I'm busy for the rest of the night.
I really hope Soderbergh just keeps up this retirement by just making crime films, like ostensibly crime films, like No Sudden Move, that are just about corporate crime in America and how these people are just like still profiting off of it.
Literally,
because
good.
that whole
Expose
development in No Sudden Move was such a fun, classic Soderbergh twist where you're like, oh, like it's not like, you know, it's not Andre, Tarkovsky or anything, but here's some like pretty explicitly left-leaning material in the Hollywood footage, and we really get that in the third one in this trilogy with my favorite subplot in the whole series.
Well, I'm excited to see what your favorite subplot is, because I've actually never seen the third one, so it'll be a good time.
The third one gets a bad rap. Much like Godfather Part 3, it gets a much worse rap than I think it deserves.
And what is the one through line between The Godfather Part 3 and Ocean's 13? That's right, Andy Garcia's Lazy Eye.
James Caan.
Oh my god.
Son.
Wait, James Conson? Is that like
Wisconsin?
Is that when James Caan visits the Midwest?
Oh my god, welcome.
James Caan, welcome to Wisconsin. End of tweet.
Mr. Caan.
Here's just my
cheese?
plug. My plug, if anyone hasn't followed James Caan on Twitter, @RealJamesCaan, all of the tweets are written by him, and you can tell, and goddamn, it's so funny.
And he does sign off every tweet with end of tweet.
End of tweet.
Oh, love that.
It's like me and Elliot filming Harry and Walter go to New York. End of tweet.
Love that.
He's one of my favorite old men on Twitter, up there with Kyle MacLachlan and Ringo Starr.
Oh my god. Personally, I'm a fan of Stephen King, you know.
Oh, he is just such a loser Twitter. It's so embarrassing. I read that, I'm like, you wrote Carrie, dude. Why are you doing these, like...
I love Stephen King.
I love Stephen King, too. He's just such a goober online. Like, stop tweeting about Trump, man. You wrote The Stand. Get a grip.
You know who did have a good Twitter account before he passed away?
Oh, you know what? I 100% agree. I know what you're going to say.
Carl Reiner.
That's right. God. I saw one of his tweets earlier today. It was on, like, March 20th, of this year. I think it was like right before he passed, or it was 2020. And it was like, you know what? I really just like I look at the world and I don't see anything funny to joke about right now. And it's like, holy shit, that's real. That's fucking funny. I mean, it was funny because it's just like he's just being like, yeah, I'm the jokester. I'm 90 years old. I've seen a lot of stuff. This isn't funny at all. I'm like, that's
hilarious.
Shit. In its own right, I think it kind of was. Where he's like, I got nothing. Admitting defeat is a solid punchline.
And then would it be better, worse, or the same with Jimmy Stewart as Gaspard Lamarck?
Oh my god.
If only to hear him do a French accent. As much of a French accent as Albert Finney does.
Dan, I literally cannot imagine that with my own two ears. I really can't.
Je suis Gaspard.
Oui.
Gaspard. I think Albert Finney's approach to doing a French accent was speaking slightly slower. Because he's got a deep register, and I guess it'll just sound different if he slows it down. But I remember being like, he's not even like doing a voice. He's just taking pauses.
So, Anna.
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 5 Julia Roberts cameos as Julia Roberts, what do you give this film?
I give it a 2.5.
Reilly. I already know what you're going to give it, but what's your answer?
I think this is another Stephen Soderbergh slam dunk home run film. I mean, it's 5 out of 5. I've written this in reviews of the film before, but God, who among us doesn't just want to be a globe-trotting international criminal, just getting into scrapes and hijinks with your boys? Going to Amsterdam, getting arrested, stealing Fabergé eggs. It is the audience's fantasies realized. Soderbergh cracked into the minds of the average American moviegoer in 2004 and said, hey, what if Europeans thought we were really cool again? Because they sure as shit don't think so right now.
I think the real way that he cracked into the moviegoer's mind was, wouldn't you like to just look at George Clooney being really handsome and really suave? Because I do.
I love a handsome, suave man, you know.
That's why I give this
as much as anybody else does. Sorry, Dan.
I give this 4 George Clooney chuckles out of 5.
Ooh, not the George Clooney chuckle.
Yes, the George Clooney chuckle.
I feel like his breath always smells good, you know.
I bet he's got coffee breath.
You think so?
Because he does those commercials. He's drinking it a bunch in this movie. He seems like a guy who, like an adult man, like a working adult man, like a father. Like, they drink coffee, they start their day, and they resent it too. They hate that they have to spend money on the coffee machine and getting the coffee. Even when they go out, they get more coffee. They hate it. It's an addiction. And it's got that coffee breath stink. You know who I bet also reeks of coffee, or at least did, may he rest in peace? Carl Reiner. Seems like a coffee stinky kind of guy. I think at a certain age, men just start to permeate a smell of coffee if they drink it. And it's hard to get away.
There are worse things to smell like, I think.
That's true.
As someone who's I've been distinctly smelly for various phases in my life. There are certainly worse things you could smell like all the time.
Oh, yeah. Last summer, working with the dogs.
That sounds like a good point to wrap this up. If you like In Conclusion, you can support our deodorant fund on Patreon. Patreon.com/InConclusion.
My favorite scent is lavender, please.
Mine is pumpkin, and guess what? The pumpkin scents are coming back into the Target candle section, baby. I am all in.
Dan! It's almost Target bird buying season, and I am about to burst through the doors of the Halloween section. Tell Anna it's almost Halloween bird time.
Oh, I will.
Better be ready.
So if you want to support our candle and bird buying, again, that's patreon.com/inconclusion. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook and Twitter @AndInConclusion, on Instagram @InConclusionPodcast. You can find me on Twitter @DanO'Keefe86. I do exclusively tweet about Mary Hartman.
Boo.
So...
A show so nice they made it every day for a year.
366 times.
That's exhausting.
And then, Reilly, where can they find you?
If you enjoyed my tweets, if you enjoyed my thoughts, and you would like to see them in tweet form, I fucked it up. Oh my god, I sound so stupid. Idiot. If you want to hear more of that, you can follow me on Twitter @GoodPostReilly, GoodPostReilly. I thought the handle was going to be a reference to Good Luck Jonathan, the president of an African nation. I looked into his policies, and it is now a reference to Good Will Hunting. That's what I meant the whole time.
We all know.
I do not idolize Good Luck Jonathan. I think it's a cool name. It's certainly a cool name, and I thought it would be a good online handle, but I love Good Will Hunting, so it worked out fine. Someone said to me, it's like, oh, Good Post Reilly, is that like Good Will Hunting? And then in my head I was like, yep, that's exactly what I was going for the whole time. That's what I meant.
Oh, well, Anna, where can they find you?
Hello, you can find me on Instagram @AutomusPrime818, or you can find me on Twitter, where I mostly just like and retweet Little Nas X's tweets at Autobots Roll Out, capital O for Auto, capital B for Bots, capital R for Roll, and the O in Roll and the O in Out are zeros.
There we
Whew.
go.
I almost glitched there for a second.
Uh-oh, well, we will be back next week with the third and final film in the Oceans trilogy, Oceans 13. Tune in for that. In the meantime, everybody stay safe, have fun, and get vaccinated. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I did see her whole butt today, which is another sign that I am not ready to be a stripper.